Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today we're going to be looking at the October deck from the King's Wild Shorts line. This is Peter Pan. Now, if you don't know King's Wild Shorts, it's that premier subscription service from King's Wild Project and designer Jackson Robinson, where you get a different, unique, and inspired deck every single month. And some amazing designs have come out of the series, but perhaps none of them better than the book sub-series. We've been treated to lots of classic designs like Robin Hood and Beowulf, as well as the remake of the Sherlock Holmes deck earlier this year. But this month, we get treated to the classic Peter Pan. Now, I'm a big fan of the book series, and if you like the King's Wild Shorts line but like the book series even better, next year is going to feature a few changes to the King's Wild Shorts line. Instead of being a monthly subscription, it's going to go to being bi-monthly, and I believe all 6 decks that are launched next year are going to focus in on the books. I'm a big fan of that. I think it really kind of concentrates the series down to what I think is some of Jackson's best work. So really excited to see what 2022 has in store. But that said, let's check out Peter Pan. Now, of course, this one is inspired by the classic character. Peter Pan was created back in 1902 by a Scotsman named J.M. Barrie. I featured him as a few chapters in a book called The Little White Bird back in 1902, but later, the character caught on fire, was featured in a 1904 play, and has been remade countless times ever since. Probably the most famous one is the 1953 Disney film, and that's probably where a lot of us know Peter Pan from today. That, of course, is the inspiration behind the book. The tuck case is made a lot like the other book tucks to look like a book itself. You can see the pages around the edge, the binding on the side. This one is kind of a cloth-bound book, beautifully done. Have Peter Pan almost stamped or burned into it as the title of the deck, and then that beautiful kind of weathered red and teal cloth patterning. You get the kind of stitched on bands here across the top and the bottom, beautiful kind of inlaid design work here, and then the leather binding around the edge. Really cool look to it. Love how it really captures that book feel. You can see the same thing on the back cover. And I really like the little extra bits of weathering, whether it's the scratches or just the inconsistencies in the color. I think that really kind of lends a feel of authenticity, if you will, to the deck. The binding here has a little plate for Peter Pan, so giving you the name of the book, so you can stack these on a shelf on the side if you have a bunch of the different book tucks. And then on the bottom, you get a little bit of ad copy for King's Wild Project, of course, his signature Bible verse, and these are printed by the USPCC. Interesting, because a lot of the other book decks were printed by Expert, but this one he goes back to USPCC for it. As you open it up, this kind of continues that pattern of that red and teal, as well as that leather color. And then on the interior, you get this beautiful, it's called marbling. This is kind of an effect called paper marbling. It's something that old bookbinders would use almost as kind of a signature on the interior of their books, kind of made a unique design. It's basically done by, not that this one was made this way, but in the classic book marbling, basically they would put ink over the surface of water and then press the paper down on top, and you get these beautiful patterns here. But kind of a cool, authentic touch, something you would see on the interior of very classic books. So there you go, another fantastic tuck case. I think it obviously could have been embellished with a little bit of like embossing or something like that, but still has a really beautiful look to it overall. So that's the tuck case, but now let's get into the cards. And we'll start with the back design, and here it is. Kind of, to me, has the look of a really fancy cover to a book, complete with these riveted metal edges here. Interesting design overall. Has almost a wood backing with a gold metallic plate over the top, and then the riveted silver around the edge. Really intricate flowing pattern in the middle of that gold plate. Interesting look to it overall. I will say it feels a little bit, depending on how you look at it, it can almost feel a little bit empty here in the middle. Like there's not really much of a focal point. It's probably my only little knock on this one. You know, your eye kind of darts to different parts of it and doesn't really go to any one part of the card. That said, the texturing and weathering on this one is really, really nice. I love the sort of aged look of the metal, the grain of the wood, all those different textures on here are really nice. Just wish the card had a little bit more of a focal point on the back design. But there you go. Another highlight that you get with a lot of the King's Wild book designs is the Diptych Joker, and this one's no exception. Features a full, vibrant, colorful scene of the classic location for Peter Pan, Neverland. It's the land where nobody ever grows up. That's where Peter Pan lives and has all of his adventures. You can see Captain Hook's ship there kind of coming into port, complete with the pirate flag. The beautiful island, waterfalls, just a really vibrant scene. And I love how much real estate, if you will, that you can get with that Diptych Joker style. It just really gives you that big, bright, vibrant scene. So love a good Diptych Joker, and this one's fantastic. You also get an ad card. So Peter Pan by Jackson Robinson with the King's Wild logo there in the middle, kind of made to look like it's on ripped, torn parchment there. And then a double backer. Interesting choice to include a double backer. I like the design on it, but this is not like a magic deck by any means. The only custom ace that you get in this one is the Ace of Spades, and it's a really nice large spade pip there with a Peter Pan banner. You get Captain Hook's classic hook there, his hook hand in the middle, and that sort of gold metal layering on top of that wood ace pip. And then the beautiful cross swords by Jackson Robinson, and then a nice fancy ornate, almost calligraphy style font to the index in the corner, and that little embellished spade pip. So very, very nice Ace of Spades. The other three aces are a lot more just kind of standard or in line with the rest of the number cards, but I do like that Ace of Spades. Speaking of the number cards, here they are. They do feature kind of custom shaped spade pips there. All the pips are kind of a custom shape, but still nice, easy, and familiar. They're all black and then outlined with a really thin outline of white, and then put on a background that's kind of a parchment design. You can see the sort of weathering or the little spots of yellowing on there. I will say as you go through it, you'll see the pattern on the background of the cards is exactly the same on each one. So you do get a repeated weathering pattern, but it is still a nice touch. So as you go through the number cards, fairly standard layout to the pips. The red goes to a more classic crimson red outlined in white, but again, you get that slight custom shape to the pips themselves. And then into the clubs. So the spades and the clubs to me definitely have a more custom shape to them than the diamonds do, but still very nice. And then a relatively rounded, simple heart pip. So there's your number cards. Not bad. Like the parchment look to them, but otherwise not too much to speak of on these. And then we get into the court cards, and you know the court cards are going to feature some classic Jackson artwork. He's a phenomenally talented artist and really puts it to good use on these. So all the court cards are going to feature two-way designs of some of the classic characters. And we start out with the King of Spades, who is Peter Pan himself, the boy who'd never grow up. See him wielding his dagger here, and has little signs like the feathers of just sort of bits of his adventure throughout Neverland. Love the sort of, I don't know, you can almost feel the wind blowing through his hair. He's got that sort of tan skin from being out in the sun all day long. But a really, really cool look to that one. And of course, Peter would be nowhere without his companion. This is Tinkerbell. I usually see her in green if you're familiar with like the Disney classic, but here she's in this sort of, I don't know, translucent purple blue with the shimmering wings behind her, and she's got that really petulant look on her face. Definitely a classic from any depiction of Tinkerbell. She's always kind of in a little bit of a huff. And then you get into three of the other sort of protagonists from the story. These are the Darlings. You have Wendy, Michael, and John Darling. Wendy's a little bit of a pseudo love interest, I guess you would say, of Peter. And then her younger brothers, Michael and John, are the ones who kind of travel to Neverland with her. So they kind of fly away from their home and go to visit Neverland and have some adventures with Peter. But really cool look to him overall. I particularly like the slingshot here. This one's really cool. With his eye squinted shut there as he shoots the slingshot off. Very cool one. And King of Hearts features, this one's going to be a very familiar one, but this is kind of done in a more of a cartoon style, but Peter's biggest nemesis, Captain Hook. Love the look here. Definitely borrows a lot of the styling from the Disney portrayal of Captain Hook, complete with that long winding mustache that he's sort of twirling in his fingers there. Really like this one. It's a great card. Then you get into his first mate. Smee is on the Jack of Hearts. Smee is Captain Hook's first mate, so on the boat with him. A little portly guy with the red bushy eyebrows. That's a fun one there. And Captain Hook's other nemesis, this is the crocodile. He goes by the name Tick-Tock in the Disney films because he swallowed a clock, and so everywhere he goes you can hear the tick-tock of the clock. But the crocodile is actually the one who ate Captain Hook's hand, so he's the reason that Hook has the hook, and is always chasing him, trying to eat the rest of him. But very fun one. I love how he's kind of picking his teeth with the bone there. And then you get a lot of the other minor characters that feature their way in Neverland in some way, including like the mermaids. So they live in Mermaid Lagoon, kind of these carefree creatures that live there. Really beautiful. I love the shimmering scales on this one. Just the colors in this deck are just so vibrant and beautiful. And then there's some of the Native Americans that live in Neverland as well. So this is Tiger Lily and her father. So Tiger Lily kind of has a little bit of a romantic interest in Peter as well. That seems to be a common theme among a lot of the females in Neverland. But there's Tiger Lily, beautiful with the flower in her hand, and then her father with that stoic look with the axe at his side. And then last but not least are the Lost Boys. Peter is the leader of the Lost Boys, a group of kids on the island who cause trouble in their own way. This is the only one of the courts that's not a two-way design. You can see each side has different kids on them, but just depicting a bunch of the different Lost Boys. And this one's interesting. So a lot of the deck and a lot of the different decks that Jackson does was designed on his Dawn's Early Light channel. It's basically a place where he does live drawing sessions many mornings, and you get a chance to see him really go through the process of creating the cards. And so he'll get a small but loyal group of fans that kind of follow him along and will chat with him while he's doing his artwork. And so as he was designing the Peter Pan deck, he incorporated the children of some of the subscribers for Dawn's Early Light on here, but really kind of a cool extra little touch. You can see the twins there and just a kind of fun, mischievous looking bunch. But really cool. Now, interestingly on this one, this is one where we're kind of called to mind a little bit of a difference in the artwork style. It's interesting because I do see some like small variations in the artwork, like the Captain Hook here definitely looks much more cartoony and bold lines, whereas this one much finer, slightly more realistic, if you will, detail. A little bit of a small quibble on these, but overall I think that the artwork on these is absolutely beautiful. Just a fun look at it. If you're a fan of Peter Pan, you'll love this one. Anyway, that is it. That is the deck. As far as handling, printed by USPCC, so you know what you're getting with these. They handle really, really well. This isn't a crush stock or anything like that, but very, very smooth handling and a design that kind of lends itself to fans, etc. So no complaints on the handling whatsoever. Thoughts of the deck overall? For me, you know, I think the King's Wild Shorts line sometimes this year especially has gotten a little bit lost in remakes and much simpler decks. And so for me, getting back to one of these original designs, absolutely a fan of it. I'm here for it all day long. So I think that Jackson absolutely knocked it out of the park with this deck. My small sort of comments aside about it and areas that I think could have changed a little bit, they're really small overall to what is all in all a fantastic deck. So this one has just gone on sale for the public, so if you're not a short subscriber, you still have a chance to get this one. So I'll put a link down in the description where you can pick one up for yourself. It's a great collector's deck, fun deck to use for gameplay or something like that. It's just an absolutely beautiful deck overall, so big fan of this one. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this look at Peter Pan from King's Wild Project. Make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews and unboxings. Let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see you for the next one.